Tonight, the King 5 investigators exposed the most damaging evidence yet, showing the chaos inside the state of Washington's largest lockup for young offenders.
King 5's Chris Ingalls has obtained sex tapes from inside the facility's walls.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Look, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you guys. When I heard the intro to this particular segment, I had to do a bit of a double take. I had to check if this local news affiliate was actually some AI slop content meant to serve up the most insane combination of things in one single sentence to me so I could react to it. But in reality, this is not only a real story, this is not only a true thing that happened.
Proof of security officers having sex with inmates while leaving their posts empty and unsecured.
What are we doing, Cenk? What are we doing? What are we doing? Someone tell me, what the F are we doing?
But of course, it's at the juvenile facility, but for those of you who are concerned about minors being involved in this, the inmates at this particular Supermax juvenile facility go up to the age of 25, and the alleged victims in this case, because one of them, by the way, sued the prison for a violation of his rights, are a 23-year-old male and a 25-year-old male. By the way, one of them's a double murderer, so women have absolutely no standards apparently, and to make matters even worse, these particular guards, or what are being described as guards, actually double for rehabilitative staff. They are counselors, social workers, and by the way, you also know, based on the fact that I told you this story, and I probably put these women in the thumbnail, that they look exactly how you imagined them. So this is what we're going to talk about today. An absolutely insane story out of Washington State that is in fact real, as Anna Kasparian would say.
It's real, guys. It's real.
And the kind of baffling, insane reaction to this maddening story. But before we get into any of that, before we get into this innuendo, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money. Okay?
A young couple in a private locked room recording an intimate moment. In this day and age, it may not be that uncommon. What's extraordinary about this tape? Where it's happening and who these people are. They're locked away in a linen closet at Washington's maximum security juvenile detention center.
So linked in the description is the local news segment in full, and I have actually had to remove the R&B music that is playing in the background of this particular scene for copyright reasons, but make no mistake about it, not only is this going down in a linen closet in a maximum security facility in the state of Washington, but they're also playing R&B music as they're filming themselves in this particular encounter. And since I removed that particular R&B music, I think it would behoove me to kind of recreate it for you guys out there in the audience when I rerun this clip right now.
Intimate moment. In this day and age, it may not be that uncommon.
Oh yeah, I've never been in love like this. Never been in love like this. Yes, this is like the lyrics of the song that's actually playing in the background of this particular scene. Again, I removed it for copyright reasons, but it's absurd. It's insane. This is a thing that's happening. And again, I understand if you guys out there in the audience are thinking, there's no way this is going to get worse, but believe me, it is going to get significantly worse once you figure out what this man that this woman picked out of this Supermax prison in order to hook up with is actually in said Supermax prison for.
The Green Hill School in Chehalis houses males up to the age of 25 convicted of violent crimes. 22-year-old Robert Thompson is an inmate. Emily Baker is the Green Hill security officer on duty for the night shift.
Again, we have more R&B music right there, and so you guys get the full experience because I have to edit out for copyright music. Let me rerun that clip with me recreating it.
Houses males up to the age of 25 convicted of violent crimes.
Whoa, never been in love like
Robert Thompson
this. So over here on the Actual Justice Warrior channel, I want you guys to all know and understand that we do not condone body shaming. We're good-hearted progressives that care about the people who obviously are destroying their own bodies based on the fact that they have no self-control. And I would never, absolutely ever, say that the only way that this woman could get laid is if she had an audience of captive males, even though in this particular situation, information, that appears to be 100% true. I would never say that. I would never imply that. I would never infer that. That being said, of all the inmates that you were going to choose to, again, record yourself having this intimate encounter with, she chose this particular inmate, and I find this to be even more repugnant and disgusting.
Equally jolting as a sex tape behind bars is the incredible lack of security that allowed it to happen. Records obtained by King 5 show at 4:55 in the morning, during strict lockdown hours, another security officer unlocked Thompson's cell under the pretense that Baker needed the inmate to tidy up the linen closet.
To be looked at as a killer and person without sorrow.
So the local news media ends up cutting back to Thompson, who again at his trial back in the day, or at his sentencing, said that it hurts to be looked at as like an unremorseful killer. But the thing is, when you murder two people, that's typically what happens. Get a load of what he was actually convicted of when he was saying it hurts so bad to be looked at as like an unrepentant, cold-blooded murderer.
As King 5 reported in 2022, Thompson is serving 40 years for the murders of Puyallup shopkeeper Soonja Nam and Thompson's accomplice, who he feared would turn him into police.
Yeah, the guy killed a Korean shop owner, an old lady. She's pictured right there. By the way, no word from Stop Asian Hate on this particular crime. And then, because he was afraid his accomplice would dime him out, he killed his own friend, the guy that actually worked with him in the original crime. And he's out here at the trial talking about how, oh my God, it hurts that people look at me as an unrepentant killer. Isn't that sad for me? And then he goes to prison, and the prison guard says, you know what? That's a guy I want to be alone with in a locked room.
Despite that violent history, records show Thompson spent 18 minutes locked away in the linen closet, alone with Baker.
That's the guy I want to have an intimate encounter with, and that's the guy that I'm going to film myself having an intimate encounter with. This is a thing that actually happened. This is where we're at in terms of prison guards, and again, I will point out that maybe that woman not exactly built to be a prison guard. Definitely not mentally, but very likely not physically, even though, again, we here at the Actual Justice Warrior would never, ever make a comment on anybody's physical appearance and how they definitely need captive men in order for this to work out. And by the way, one of the things that makes this so crazy is that this double murderer, this man who killed an elderly woman and his own accomplice to that particular crime, he is the victim in this encounter right here. He is technically being abused because the guard was in a position of power over him. This is not consensual according to the law.
18 minutes locked away in the linen closet, alone with Baker, before this happened. A knock at the door that's followed a minute later by a phone call.
Everybody in there's going to talk. No matter how much you think people keep secrets, they don't.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
In all honesty, Emily, it made me feel very uncomfortable.
I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to do that.
It's unclear who the man is that's scolding Baker on the phone.
So this phone call is also recorded. By the way, she's talking on speaker, which means there's two phones involved, which means she likely smuggled in a cell phone for this particular inmate, you know, the double murderer at a supermax prison. And by the way, I ended up cutting the video, and there's a reason I did that, is because I'm not trying to get age restricted by the YouTube gods. And when the knock on the door ended up happening, I just want you guys to understand that this woman was not on her feet, and the local news media wanted to communicate that information to us. And you can go look in the segment if you want to look at that for yourself, but I don't need to see any of this. My eyes are scarred. Honestly, it is an additional crime that they filmed this, just because, really, seriously, no one wants to see it. But again, the crazy thing about this particular story is this isn't the first case of this happening at this particular facility. And in fact, a different woman who is a security guard / support staffer that is supposed to be working to rehabilitate the youths, because remember, even though they have inmates up to the age of 25, this is principally supposed to be a juvenile detention facility, also got caught up in one of these scandals a couple of months prior to this. So maybe we're going to find out in the future that these women are swapping tapes, swapping inmates, having a good time all the way around. And I find that to be crazy.
The secret rendezvous seems like something that would be nearly impossible to pull off in a high security facility with cameras everywhere. But we've learned it's happened more than once. This is another sex tape. That's security officer Michelle Goodman last year, 3 months before Baker's tape. She's having sex with a 23-year-old inmate, unidentified in court records, in the employee locker room at Green Hill.
So look, obviously this is heavily redacted by the local news media, but again, they're still trying to show you this information so you know what happens, and I ended up deciding to block out the entire screen because this woman, I don't know exactly how to describe it. You know how they say when you go to prison, you're going up the river? Well, this security guard essentially went to downtown. She started off standing up, not at eye level because he's taller than her, but then she ended up dropping something on the floor and going on her knees in order to pick it up, if you catch my drift. That is what is being communicated to us by this local news segment, and honestly, I didn't think I needed to see that. I didn't think I needed to see the inmate lift up his shirt while this was happening because he doesn't want to dirty up his prison uniform by this woman servicing him. This is the counselor meant to help him rehabilitate, and she was definitely rehabilitating something.
Goodman was fired last year for inappropriate non-sexual contact with inmates. The sex tape later came to light in a civil suit filed by the 23-year-old inmate.
Thank you, everyone. You can be seated.
Last month, Goodman faced a charge of custodial sexual misconduct.
Or misconduct, in the first degree.
I'm guilty.
And admitted to the sex tape crime.
I was thinking about this particular story and the broader gender implications, and I guess this could be taken as an example that if you feel like you can't get any luck with women, that you're struggling, just imagine you're a double murderer, you're sent to a prison that is supposedly supposed to be with all guys. It's actually quite literally illegal for the women to hook up with you, but not only were these women willing, 2 of them at the same facility, to hook up with dangerous inmates, but in addition to all of that, they were so proud of it that they wanted to film themselves doing it. They wanted to capture the moment. That's how into it they were. Now, of course, many of you out there in the audience would say, Sean, not exactly the lookers, but the thing is, beggars can't be choosers, in my humble opinion. And again, it is this woman from the second tape shown to us, but actually she was busted first, that actually ended up being the person who led to the lawsuit against her and the prison for the custodial abuse.
Baker also pleaded guilty to her crimes and was sentenced earlier this month to 7 years in prison.
Parties agreed to recommend to the court that I impose 84 months, followed by the 36 months of community custody.
In addition to their sex crimes, both women admitted to smuggling contraband into Green Hill, like cell phones and marijuana. According to the Lewis County deputy prosecutor who charged the women, it's a complete breakdown in security.
Yeah, again, for all of you who are like, man, I'm dropping $200 in dinner on these particular women, and they're not showing me any interest, you just gotta have that natural charisma. You gotta know how to talk to women, because apparently, even if you're an inmate and you're actually asking for things from her, she has to provide all these things, you can connect with somebody in the strangest places. Honestly, I would love to hear the meet cute that these particular counselors / guards had with these particular inmates. Maybe they were going over their file thinking, wow, murdered an elderly Asian woman and his own accomplice. I want him to murder my... Or maybe it was just like a love at first sight thing. No words needed to be spoken, and these women just realized that their soulmate, their other half, was behind a metal door. I don't know. I don't really want to talk about this anymore, but I will say that they bring in like a rehabilitation expert to say that this isn't good for rehabilitation when you have the prison rehabilitation people hooking up with the inmates and having them break the rules of said prison.
I hope it's all okay when they get out. And to think they won't be a criminal when they get out, when we train them to be a criminal.
Jill Sharkey, a professor and researcher at the University of California, Santa Barbara, studies juvenile punishment and mental health. She says when detention center staff fails the young inmates, rehabilitation fails too.
100%. It's the culture of the place that allows it. And I think the culture needs to change.
I'm okay. Like, I don't know what you want me to do with that. Like, I'm not really all that concerned about the rehabilitative methods of this particular facility when the guards are hooking up with the inmates. They're hooking up with the double murderers, some dangerous people at this Supermax facility. I think my main primary issue is not that you don't have enough education programs at this particular place. It's the fact that the guards are so emboldened they're recording this, possibly for their burgeoning OF accounts. I don't know. I don't really want to get into this any further. I believe that those inmates have gotten to this far enough, if you know what I mean. But you know what? Those are just my thoughts. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about women accepting men for their flaws. Till next time.